Creator tells Moses, Ki Tisa et rosh bnei Israel. When you elevate the head consciousness of the Israelites. This Shabbat is about elevating our consciousness from one level to another level. What are these two levels? Number one, and why is it so important to be elevated? And this again is such a beautiful, beautiful idea. And before Amalek came to the Israelites had a doubt, had a question. Hayesh Hashem bekirbeinu im ayin. Literally the verse says, is the light of the Creator with us or not? Hayesh Hashem bekirbeinu im ayin. Rashi, the great Kabbalist and commentator, to explain that verse and the problem with it, uses what seems to be a very simple, sometimes a little bit funny, but really sad parable. He says this is where the Israelites were, their consciousness, is compared to a child whose father lifts him on his shoulders. And he walks around with him all day. The father says to his son, "Father, can you give me that apple over there?" The father buys it and he gives it to him. Again, the child is on the father's shoulders. You go ahead and he sees a cake that he likes. Says, "Father, can you buy me that cake?" He buys the cake and he gives it to his son. All day, maybe he goes around and he's buying him things and giving him things. Everything he wants, the father gets. After all day of this, they're walking. And the child turns to one of the people in the street and says, Sir, do you know where my father is?" And the father says, "This is where you're at?" It says he takes him down and he lets him be attacked. This is the parable. It's an interesting parable, again. So the Rashi seems to be saying that the Israelites were in a place where they received so much, where the miracles were so clear to them, and then they say, "Where's the light?" So the light puts them down, open to all kinds of attack, all kinds of negativity. Why is the light so nasty? So what? Let's say they made a mistake. So they asked the wrong question. Father, can any of us really think that a father who loves his son, after all that he's given him, and suddenly the son asks, "Where's my father?" So the father immediately wants him, chas v'shalom, to be harmed, which is what the parable seems to be saying. So no. It's a beautiful and deep and powerful lesson here. It says, when the Israelites are in the desert, say, "Mi ten mutenu biyad Hashem be'eretz Mitzrayim." We wish we would have died in Egypt, when we sat there with all the food, b'shivtenu al sira basar. This is when they were in the desert and they didn't know where their food was going to come from. Ki hevetem otanu b'midbar le'amit bara'av. But you brought us now into the desert and we're going to die in hunger. So they're saying something strange. We don't mind dying in Egypt where there's food, but you brought us here into the desert and now we're going to die of hunger here in the desert. What does Moses say to them? The Creator says through Moses, "Vayomer Hashem el Moshe, don't worry about food. I will rain down food from the heavens, the manna as we know." Vayomer Moshe, Moses tells the Israelites, "Erev v'idatem," at night you will know, Ki Hashem otzi etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, that the Creator, that light force of the Creator is what took you out of Egypt. They knew that. That wasn't their doubt wasn't what had happened in the past. Their doubt was into the future. But Moses says, tonight you will know that it was the light force of the Creator that took you out of Egypt. So he asks, "V'chi lo yadu adayin ki Hashem otzi otam." They already knew. They saw the splitting of the sea. They saw the miracles in Egypt. What is this new? Moses is telling them, now that you'll have food here, you'll realize that it was the light that took you out of Egypt. So he says, amongst spiritual people who have what's called certainty, there's two types of certainty. Ha'alef, the first group of people, who, even those who have certainty, makirim, they know and they see mitzad hashpa'ato lahem, when they see that they're receiving, when the sustenance is coming, when the blessings are coming, when they see the light of the Creator manifesting in their lives, then they see the light of the Creator. Uksheyesh lahem shefa umazon umichya, and when they have food and when they have sustenance and what they want is happening, modim umeshabchim, then they give thanks and they appreciate and they know. Ki mekirim elokuto yitbarach al yedei zeh, because their only way of knowing, of connecting to the light of the Creator is when they receive. Ma she'en ken kshe'en lahem hashpa'ah, when they're not receiving. Hamazkirim otam lehakir elokuto yitbarach, when they're not receiving blessings or sustenance, they no longer, az nitrachek godel metziuto yitbarach melibam. Then the essence, the existence even, of the light of the Creator leaves their consciousness. They are conscious when they receive. They are unconscious when they don't receive. And they can't even awaken a certainty. When the lack begins, when there's nothing there for them to be receiving at that time, their consciousness leaves, their certainty goes away. Their certainty is dependent on receiving. When there's no receiving, there's no certainty. And certainly when it gets even worse, and there's one thing not to have when it's possible to have. But to be in a place where there isn't even any possibility of it ever happening, that's even a worse state, and there their consciousness goes completely gone. There certainly they have no ability to have certainty that the light of the Creator will assist them. This state, which is a state that most people, even spiritual people, even connected people exist on, that's considered being connected to a state that's called Zeir Anpin. Literally in Aramaic it means small face, a small consciousness. You can have certainty when you're not getting, at worse, when nature tells you there's no possibility of ever getting, then you have no consciousness, no certainty. Wherein consciousness and certainty is dependent on what you're receiving right now. When you see that you're getting, then you have certainty. That's considered being in the state of Zeir Anpin. What does it mean being in the state? You are connected to what's called a small face. You have small consciousness and you're connected to the small state. But there's a second level, the real level, the level that we have to be striving towards. That a person is so connected to the light of the Creator and sees the light so clearly all the time. Everywhere he looks, in every person, in everything, he sees the light of the Creator with such clarity. And he's so consistently seeing and feeling and connecting to the light of the Creator that's ever present. That includes within it all of life. And he knows with certainty all the time that all light, that all sustenance, and all blessing, everything only comes to the light of the Creator. And the light is what's called the life of life, what gives life and light into life. Then the individual is connecting to a level, something that's called Keter, or called the Ancient of Days. What does it mean, the Ancient of Days? Why does the Kabbalists use that phrase? Because as Rav Ashok says, these names, Zeir Anpin or Atik Yomin, small face or Ancient of Days, don't refer to the Creator who never changes, but refer to the individual's level of connection, individual's level of consciousness. If you, as we said, are in the first group, which unfortunately most people are, where certainty is dependent on what is being received at that time, then you are of consciousness, and therefore your Creator is Zeir Anpin, a small face. But when you have clarity all the time and you see the light of the Creator in all things and know that it is only the light of the Creator, then you are connected to the state that's called Atik Yomin, Ancient of Days, always here, always was, always is, always will be. That's your connection. And when a person has this consciousness, he has complete certainty. He has complete certainty in the light of the Creator in every time, in every place. Because he has such clarity, such constant clarity and certainty in everything, all time, in all places. Therefore, and he knows that everything is being sustained in every moment by the light of the Creator. He has such elevated consciousness that he knows with certainty that the light can bring something new, create something never known before, never created before, right now. And it's easy. A person of the consciousness of what's called Atik Yomin, he knows. Not he'd like to know, or he'd like to believe, or he'd like to have certainty. He knows that the light of the Creator can create miracles at any moment, even in a place of great danger. Now, what we have to realize is that which consciousness you have actually influences what type of light you receive, what kind of miracles you receive. It says in the Talmud in Brachot, and now we can understand on a deeper level, even if a person has a knife on his throat, he should not stop himself from receiving mercy. It's a very interesting statement. Even if a knife or a sword is on a person's throat, meaning he's about to die, he should not stop the mercy or the light of the Creator from being revealed to him. What does it mean? Al Dimnatz? The word should have been, he shouldn't give up hope, right? But it doesn't say he shouldn't give up hope. It says he shouldn't stop. Why? He says, you should say, you should ask for mercy. What does it mean? You shouldn't stop mercy. He says, but now you can understand. The light of the Creator is merciful, is always giving, always capable to create miracles. And the light, of course, is everywhere. There's no place that the light of the Creator does not exist. If the individual does not have that certainty and that clarity, he stops the miracle from happening. He stops the light of the Creator from being revealed. So lack of certainty actually is what stops the miracle from happening. So when it says that even if a sword is on a person's throat, he shouldn't stop the light of the Creator being revealed, meaning you have to be in a state of what we called earlier, atik yomin, where you have clarity and your certainty is not dependent on the physical circumstances or the likelihood, but you have complete certainty all the time, then you don't stop the miracle from happening. But if you are of what's called ze'ir anpin, you only have certainty when it's clear, you only have certainty when nature dictates it's possible, then you're connected to the state of ze'ir anpin, and you are monea et atzmo min harachamim. You are stopping the mercy, the light from being revealed, the miracle from being revealed. But when you know with clarity and with certainty all the time that the light of the Creator is in everything, and can create easily a miracle, this is a lifetime of work to get to this state, but when you end that state, that individual has achieved that state of consciousness, of certainty. He is always connected to the light of the Creator. And miracles will occur to this person all the time. And therefore it says, even if it's at the end, chas v'shalom, where the knife is on the throat, if the individual is somebody who's on the state of certainty, of atik yomin, of constant consciousness, of certainty, then you will not, then you will be in a state where you don't stop the miracle of life from occurring. Because these miracles and this light is available everywhere without end. This is so important to understand. You can only draw from where you're connected to. You cannot be living all of your life in the realm of ze'ir anpin, which is where your certainty is dependent on being given in that moment, and think that you're going to draw a miracle from atik yomin, from the higher state. It doesn't work that way. You can only draw the level from which you're connected to. And if you live all your life being connected to the realm of ze'ir anpin, you can't draw a miracle from atik yomin. And therefore there's such a great danger where most of us are at in the first group, which is dependent, the certainty is dependent on what occurs external. Because then you're only connected to the realm of ze'ir anpin. And when you're connected to the realm of ze'ir anpin, which is what's called the level where the light of the Creator is diminished, and mitzumtzam, is restricted and constricted, then you can't draw a miracle. Then you're stopping the miracles, which means that every single one of us, every single day, to the degree that we're still connected only to the realm of ze'ir anpin, to the small face, to certainty that's dependent, then we are stopping miracles from happening. Because where do miracles come from? Miracles come from an individual who's connected to the realm of atik yomin, that higher realm of certainty that is not dependent on being given at that time, or even being in a state where receiving is even possible. You have to remember this phrase, ki bidvekut hamachshava, where your thought, where your consciousness is attached to, v'chiyuto shel adam, and where your essence truly is, yachol lehamshich mimakom dvekuto kefi ma shehu, be'erech dvekuto, wherever you are attached to, that's where you draw from. And miracles do not come from the realm of ze'ir anpin. Certainty, even certainty, but certainty that's dependent on receiving, on hashpa'ah, connects you to the realm that's called ze'ir anpin. Miracles don't come from there. Miracles come from the higher realm, which is called arich anpin, or atik yomin, the Ancient of Days. But in order to be able to draw those, you have to be connected to those. You have to be living in that realm. And therefore, as we explained earlier, there's two groups of people. Most of the world probably has no consciousness. Then the spiritual, those amongst us, most of us are in the first group, where the certainty is dependent on receiving, where the certainty is at least dependent on being in a state that we can possibly imagine receiving. But that state connects a person to the level that's called Zeir Anpin, and that state cannot draw miracles. That state stops miracles. A higher state, which is what's called Atikum in the Ancient of Days, that's when an individual has certainty regardless of external in every time, in every place. Such an important, and again, I know we speak about certainty all the time, but this clarity about the two states of being and the unfortunate reality that most people, even spiritual people, even people of consciousness, of certainty, are still only connected to the realm that's called Zeir Anpin, and they are mon'im et atzmam min harachamim, they are stopping the miracles, and miracles can only occur when an individual is at the state of what's called atikumin, which means certainty that is not dependent, that is allowed to be independent of place or time or possibility. That state of consciousness, that state of certainty is the one that draws miracles. Because again, and this is such an important phrase, you only draw from where you are connected to. You can only draw from where you are connected to. And if you're connected to certainty that is small, what's called Zeir Anpin, then you can only draw from it. If you're unlimited certainty, you draw from the place of unlimited miracles. Beautiful and powerful teaching. And with this we can understand what would be either a funny or an interesting story in the Talmud. It says in the Talmud in Ketubot, Hahuda ata lekamei de Rava. A certain poor man came to the great sage Rava. Ve'amar lo Rebbe parnasein, and he says to him, my master, please give me food and drink, support me. Amar le b'ma ata soet, so Rava wants to know what kind of food are you looking for, what kind of drink are you looking for? So the poor man says to him, this is what I'm used to, this is my menu. Amar lo betarnegolet ptuma v'yain yashan. What I want, when I say to you that I want you to support me, I mean you should give me a fat chicken, really great, chicken, and old wine. This is what I desire. Amar le, so Rava says to him, he's a little bit offended, you poor man, you're coming to me to ask me to do you a favor and give you some food, but let me give you some bread and some water. You're asking me for this fat chicken and old wine? You know how expensive that is? Amar le, aren't you at least worried or embarrassed that you're putting on a great load on me, that I have to now support you with old wine and with fat chickens? Amar le, so the poor man says to him, Atu mididhu ka'achilna? Do you think, he says to Rava, that I'm eating your food? Or drinking your wine? Midirachmana ka'achilna. I'm eating God's food and wine. So don't bother me with how much things cost and how expensive it might be. I'm not asking you to give me your food. I'm asking the Creator to give me His food. The Tanya, and the poor man quotes to him a teaching of the sages. It says, Einei kol elecha yesaberu, all the people of the world turn their eyes towards the Creator. Ve'ata noten lahem et ochlam be'ito. And you give them, the Creator gives the sustenance, the blessings in His time. And it says, Be'itam lo ne'emar, the sages taught that food is not given when man wants to give it, but when the Creator wants to give it. So the poor man is teaching Rava, the sage, a teaching from the other sages, which presumably he already knew, that food does not come from man, it comes from the Creator. Rava does not seem to be impressed by this teaching, which he probably knew earlier. He's still not happy with this poor man. And something crazy happens. Rava's sister had not visited him for 13 years. As they're arguing, after 13 years of not visiting her brother, she comes to visit, and what does she bring? And she brings him a fat chicken, cooked, and old wine. And so Rava is shocked. He sees this clear miracle. He says, I'm so sorry to the poor man. He says, Mecholi, forgive me. Rava says to the poor man. So, interesting story, but the Kabbalist points out that what changed? The teaching that the food comes from the Creator was true whether or not the miracle happened that the sister came with the wine or with the chicken. If it's true that a poor man should be able to ask for whatever he wants because it comes from the Creator, it doesn't come from the person he's asking for, well, that should always be true. But it's not always true. It's not always true for the poor man, it's not always true for us. Rather, in order to merit for miracles to occur, as occurred here, יצטרך להיות במדרגה גדולה, שיהיה לו ביטחון גדול כל כך שהשם יתברך יעשה לו כפי ביטחונו הגדולה. Having and receiving miracles from the Creator is dependent on your, as we just learned, on your consciousness. So this man comes to Rava, And Rava doesn't know, is he a person of Zeir Anpin consciousness, of small face, certainty only when he receives, or is he somebody who is of Atik Yomin, who has unlimited consciousness? For somebody who has unlimited consciousness, they do not ever receive from man, they only receive from the Creator. Miracles will occur for them. So Rava would then say, if you're of that consciousness, of course I'll give you whatever you want because I know it's coming from the Creator. But if you're of small consciousness, then I can't give you of my own, because it will be only of my own. Your food, your drink does not come from the Creator. But, as we said, once he realized, clearly this miracle was occurring for Rava to realize this person's certainty. He was coming to him not to ask him for food, but to let him know, maybe through you, maybe through somebody else, but it's coming from the Creator. Lo mididhu kach, I'm not eating from yours, he told him. Miderachmana kachin lo. I am eating from the Creator. But how many people have that consciousness? This person happened to have had it. And therefore he merited, afshelo kederech hateva b'derech nes. He merited to receive even not in natural ways. Rava didn't know who this person was, which consciousness he had. But when he saw that the miracle occurred for him, then he realized that he is of the consciousness of Atik Yomin, and therefore miracles will occur for him all the time, and therefore he deserves whatever he wants. He wants a fat chicken, he wants wine, of course, because it's coming from the Creator. It might come through Rava today, it might come through his sister tomorrow, but this is a person who draws miracles all the time. And this is what we're talking about. When you are able, and this is really, as we said, the work of our lives, of our spiritual lives, is to elevate to the certainty of Atik Yomin. Limitless certainty, to be able to draw limitless miracles in life. When you elevate to that place, yuchal lehamshich kol itztarchuto. You can draw everything that you need. Af gam derech nes v'shelo kederech haolam. Whether you need a miracle, whether you need something that doesn't happen in this world. Because the clarity and the connection to that elevated state of the light of the Creator is always with him. We began this discussion by asking, why did the Israelites say we'd rather have died in Egypt while we were eating rather than die in the desert, hunger? The Israelites, although they saw miracles and they had certainty, but they were of the Zeir Anpin level, which means that when they saw at least the possibility of food, then they had certainty. When they realized they were in the desert, there's no light to the Creator here, the desert, as we know, is the place where the negative side resides. They have no consciousness, because they have no consciousness of what's called Atik Yomin. And therefore they say to Moses, death is less important to us than being disconnected from the light of the Creator. And we know that we're of the lower consciousness, we're of the lower certainty. So we can reside in a city, be it Egypt, in the country of Egypt, where there's at least, we know, a possibility of nature helping us. We can be connected to the light of the Creator. But here in the desert, which is the place where the snake resides, where the negative forces have their light, have their energy, then we cannot have consciousness here. But Moses says now is the time to elevate to the higher level. Moses says to them, even here in the desert, I'm going to open for you the gates of unlimited sustenance. But in order to be able to open this, I need you to elevate to this higher level, this higher state of certainty. And therefore, and this is why Moses said to them these words, Erev v'idatem, at night, even night represents the dark place, the place where certainty, regular certainty that is dependent on receiving, that is dependent on at least natural capabilities of something happening or being revealed, even in that place, in darkness, where there is no logical assistance, where there is no even logical possibility of assistance, vidatem. You have to awaken and go to this higher level of consciousness. Hashem Yitbarach Yasen, he's seen that the Creator will bring down miracles. And if you elevate to that state in the darkness, which means in not when you're receiving, not when there's a possibility of possibly receiving, you're able to maintain a certainty, then the morning will come. Then the light of the Creator will be revealed. And now we can understand where we began with, the parable of the child. In the parable we said the father puts the child on his shoulder. When a person is on the level of Atik Yomin, the certainty that we spoke of, the certainty that is not dependent, he's in a higher state. When a person is of the lower consciousness, certainty that's dependent on receiving, it's dependent on physicality, at least supporting a possibility of something happening. He's in the level of Zeir Anpin. Zeir Anpin is very close to the realm of Malchut. It's very close to the realm of the snake, very close to the realm of danger, very close to the realm where there are all kinds of possible negativity. So when it says in the Midrash that the child was on the father's shoulders, it means that when you're in the state of Atik Yumin, and your consciousness is of that elevated state, no harm can come to you. But when it says in the parable, when the child didn't realize, forgot where his father was, meaning the certainty was lost, or at least went down to the lower state of certainty, which is called Zeir Anpin, then the child's of this world. And what's of this world? The snake. What's of this world is all kinds of chas v'shalom negativity attaching itself. It wasn't that the father is punishing, or in our case, the light is punishing us by saying, okay, now you'll be open to the possibility of all kinds of negativity attaching itself to you. No, that's just the reality. When you're in the lower state of consciousness, you're in the lower state. And what does the lower state mean? It's closer to the realm of the snake. It's closer to the realm that's open to all kinds of dangers. And you're at the higher state, where your consciousness is of what's that realm called Atik Yumin. You're on the shoulders. You're elevated. You're, as we spoke earlier last week, but Yisurim bedelin himeno. You are elevated to a state where no negativity can touch you. So we said that one of the reasons why it's so important to develop this constant certainty, independent of receiving and independent of possibility of receiving. The reason why that's important is because only from that state, when you're connected to that realm called Atik Yumin, can you draw miracles into your life. But there's another very important reason, is that when you're in that state, you fly above the darkness of this world. You fly above the dangers of this world. When you're in the lower state of Zeir Anpin, besides the fact that you are monea et atzmo min harachamim, you are stopping the miracles and the light from coming into your life, you are also putting yourself in the lower state, and that lower state is closer to the snake, is closer to the force of darkness, is closer to all the possibilities, chas v'shalom, of negativity coming. And we have two very important reasons why we have to push ourselves. Maybe the most important work that we have to constantly be doing is elevating our certainty to an independent state. That independent state means not because I'm receiving now, and not because I see a possibility of receiving, but because I have certainty that is independent of anything else, limitless certainty. That means I'm on the level of Atik Yumin, Ancient of Days. When you're on that realm, miracles happen. Nothing has to be dependent on nature. More important than that maybe is the fact that when you're in that consciousness, you're in that state, you are flying above the darkness of this world. You are flying above all the dangers of this world. Chas v'shalom, when you're in the state of Zeir Anpin, when even your certainty is dependent, then not only, chas v'shalom, as we said, you stop the miracles, the light, the blessings from coming into your life, you're also putting yourself in that lower state. And you're putting yourself in that state that's connected to the snake, connected to the darkness of this world, open, chas v'shalom, to all the dangers of this world. And therefore, we go back to where we started. This week's portion, it says, Ki Tisa et rosh bnei Israel. What does Moses give us on the Shabbat? He lifts up our head. What does he lift us up to? Unfortunately, even those of us who are spiritual, and even those of us who have certainty, what kind of certainty do we have? We have the certainty of Zeir Anpin. Moses comes to us on this Shabbat and he says, get up, connect your certainty to Atik Yumin. And then what? V'lo yeh b'hem negef. And then no negativity can touch you. So the gift, and now we understand, it's such a beautiful thing. When Moses comes to us on this Shabbat, and he elevates, and we have to beg for this. And then it's true, before Shabbat and after Shabbat, we got to push ourselves and do the work to awaken limitless certainty. But Moses on this Shabbat elevates us from the low state of certainty of Zeir Anpin, limited certainty, dependent certainty, to the state of limitless certainty. Certainty that is not dependent on anything, independent certainty. V'lo yeh b'hem negef. And when you elevate to that state, you're guaranteed, if you're able to maintain it, not just to receive it on the Shabbat, but you're able to remove yourself from the state where negativity, any type of negativity comes. Now we understand what happens on the Shabbat. As we said, yes, you have to beg for it before Shabbat. You have to do the work of limitless certainty before and after to keep it. But what an amazing, amazing gift Moses gives us on the Shabbat. And one more thing, it says, we quoted when the Israelites fell, It says, they said, Hayesh Hashem b'kirbeinu im ayin. Literally, we said the verse says, is the Creator with us or not? But the Zohar says that what they were asking is, where is our consciousness? Is it Zeir Anpin or is it Atik Yomin? Is it limited consciousness, limited certainty, dependent certainty? Or is it the certainty of Atik Yomin? And when only if you are constantly of the consciousness, and we all probably go in and out sometimes, but only if you're constantly in the limitless certainty of Atik Yomin, you are removed from the negativity, from the possible darkness of this world. And this is what Moses gives us on the Shabbat. He elevates us. And then, of course, before Shabbat and after Shabbat, you do everything you can to hold on to that certainty of Atik Yomin. Then it's a promise. V'lo yeh b'hem negev. A person of that connection, of that certainty, won't have any connection to the negativity, to the darkness of this world. As I said, this teaching is so beautiful that even if nobody understands it, I'm excited to have brought it into this world. But I hope that we all take the power and the tremendous gift that is given to us by Moses on the Shabbat, not only beg for it and receive it, but have the ability to hold on to it, to do the work to hold on to it, for not just for this week, but for our life. Shabbat Shalom.